Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn how we can create a loading kind of animation. So you might have already seen when you're downloading something from a website, it used to show some kind of an animation like a round, or some dot, which is in like a blinking fashion, right? So that gives you a feeling like something is happening behind the scene. But how you can achieve the same in a console? Alright, so if right now what I'm doing just printing a simple loading with the three dots. If you see the output looks like this, there is no animation, so it's just like a static, just a text, so we don't know if anything is happening or not behind the scene. All right, so before going into that animation thing, first we need to understand how cursor works. So actually cursor works from left to right and the top to bottom fashion. And so let me get that. Like first, let's say I'll just remove these dot, and so that we can get that in a with some delay. And let me put a delay of like let's say 1 second, so that we can see I'm like it's really doing that job or not. So this is like a manual way of doing that. So you can see it's showing dot 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 and stop there because the application is stopped. Now you observe like how we have achieved like with a delay of 3 dots, but now we want the cursor should remove these through the 3 dots and again start doing the same dot, so that gives a feeling to the user like okay, something is happening, it's downloading. Okay, so for that we need to understand, like as I already told you, the cursor works from left to right. So now we have already gone 3 character on the right direction. So one character is for the first dot, second character for the second dot, and the third character for the third dot. So now we have to take the cursor back to the third position, I mean the previous third position. So you can say if you are in the third position, you can say first position. All right, so for that we can use a method called console dot left. Okay, so left, and this will give you the current position actually. So from there we have to subtract whatever, like in whatever direction we want. I mean not whatever direction, we can go in a backward direction only. So we can subtract from the current position whatever position we wanted. So before doing that, let me show you what, like whether where the cursor is blinking right now. I'm not sure whether you observed or not. Let me put a console.read line so that it will be visible. So if I run this time, you see it's adding 1 2 3 and it's blinking to the last position. Okay, now let me stop this one and go back to the same method. So we want to subtract, let's say 2 characters. So I'll just say take the current position and I'll say 2 minus, and if I run this time, you see 1 2 3, and since we separate 2, so that is why it's blinking in the middle of all the 3 dots. All right, let me stop that. So now what we have to do, actually we have to go in the backward direction and remove that dot, so that it gives a feeling like okay, something is happening, so it looks like an animation. So for that we can use maybe the same method, and there is one more way. I'll just show you the first one first. So let me say, so what we will do, we go from right to the left side. So that is why, for example, you take the current position and subtract -1, because after adding the third character it goes to the right. So we are on the right position, that is why we are subtracting 1, and then we add a space. So a space is to remove this dot, and then we go cursor 2 minus, because it's already moved 1 for because of space, and then cursor moved to the one on the forward direction. So that is why we need to subtract 2 now. So we goes back and reach to this second dot, and we put a space again, and this time again we will subtract 2, and then that's how we reach to the first character, and we added a space, and after that it will move 1 character forward direction. So now we just add, we don't want to remove anything before this space, so we just go 1 character back, so that wherever it added a space and move forward direction, and that, so that we can go back to the space location actually. So if you see right now, if I run without adding anything, so let me run it. You see add 1 2 3 goes deleted, and then it's blinking on the first position of that dot, so that we can add a dot again. Let me stop this one. So if I copy this whole thing again and put it below this one time, you can see it's dot dot dot, and it removed, and then it added again dot dot dot. I hope you are getting what I'm trying to say. Now we know how to show this dot dot dot. Now we can do the same in the loop, so it will looks like it's downloading or loading something. So you can use this trick too. let's say if you're downloading something from a or a API, and in backend you are doing some big process, you can use this trick to show dot 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 like doing something. So I'll show you maybe how we can do the same in a loop. So for that, let's say, let me get that loop here. Well, I will delete these things. Okay, so let me add that method. So in that method, if you see, we are doing pretty much same thing. So it like here how many dots you want. So I just added like 3 dots we want, and it's a you can say just a loop I'm running in an infinite way. You can stop it, like it's up to you how you can put it in this in a thread, and you can start and stop the thread. Like for example, if you're downloading something from a internet, you say start thread dot start, and then call this method. It will just show dot 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 in arrays, and then dot dot dot, something like that. And when you're able, when you receive the response from an API, then you can just stop the thread, something like that. Here I'm just calling that method directly and show you how it will work. So let's say, so we are doing pretty much same thing. If you see, we are adding dot, going to the one position forward direction we just want to add, that's why it's showing here. And then we are using the same position to remove these. Okay, this I sure forgot to tell you, maybe this is another way of removing the character. So slash b, what it does, it goes one character or one position in the backward direction, and then we can just add a space, so that instead if you previously what I have showed you, like we were going one character cursor dot left and then -1 -2 or something like that. If we don't want to do that, we can simply use slash b, and which will actually do the same job. So it will go in a backward direction and put a space, and then we just want to go one more backward direction. So you observe, right, we were adding -2, so this is -1 and then space, and then we minus this, the second one. So it's exactly same thing. Okay, so maybe I think it's because of static thing. Okay, so now stop, let me run this. So you see dot 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 and stop, dot dot dot, and it will be in a completely, because it's an infinite loop, so that's why it's doing that. And now it's up to you how you want to use this trick. All right, let me stop this. Now another way is to, you can use, like let's say like a circular, like in a rotating fashion, like if something is rotating, right? So that way also you can use this kind of conversion. For that you can use some characters like forward direction or backward direction slash, or you can use pipe or hyphen, so that will mimic like it's something like a rotating kind of thing. Maybe I'll show you how we can achieve that. For that we can use this method. So in this, what we are doing actually, let me put this so that will work. So now you see what we are doing is just like we are adding 3 characters. So it first in a slash, then hyphen, then pipe. Now when we'll do this in a with a sleep, it will look like with some sleep seconds, it will look like it's rotating actually. And after adding one cursor, we delete that cursor by going into backward direction, like same I told you, like this cursor current position -1, because whatever these out of these 3 cases, whatever we added, we want to delete that and put it back, and then so that we can reverse. Here we are not adding a space because we are replacing the same character again to the same location or the same position, right? So if I run it now, see, it looks like it's rotating. So how it's happening, you see, we are just printing this character first, then going back, then printing this character, then going back, then printing this character, and it's in a loop. So now you can use this trick also. And another way, we can use some kind of a color. So the color, like the console has background color, so to show in a fancy way the progress is happening or not. So like from left to right, when you are increasing the, like let's say you're taking example of dot dot dot, so we are just putting a dot. Instead of putting a dot, we can put a color actually. So let's say assume like background color is a black of a normally console, then you can put a green or something else. So in that way it will looks like, okay, some progress is happening. So how we can achieve that? For that we have to just change the console color actually. So there is something called console color dot, or whatever color you want to use. So for example, let's say if we use that, so I'm using this method. So here we need to say like what is like in what boundary we want to show the color. Because for example, let's say someone wants to show a progress, let's say, and they are giving a higher number, let's say 500 or something like that. So but we need to have that kind of space available on the console, right? For it, like for example, let's say for adding 3 dots, so we have that much space so that we can add 3 at. But if someone is saying like 500 dots, so we may not have a space available on the console, right? Because it depends on the width. So what to avoid that kind of space, we can use a bar size, so or a console bar size. So within that, using a percentage trick, we'll calculate whatever number is giving. So let's say user is giving 500 or something, so we will create a percentage out of. So for example, we set a boundary of 20, and within that 20 character position, we will show whether the progress is happening or not. I mean, how much progress is completed. So that is why we are setting at 20, and we'll start from 0th position, and we'll just show the progress between these two brackets. And I mean, like, we'll change the color of the characters between, or character position between these two brackets. Okay, so I'm taking a passage of 20, and 0th is for this bracket, and after that the first index, that's why starting position is this one. And let's say user is saying, okay, so it's in a loop. We will run this method in a loop. So it depends on, like, let's say they are downloading something from API, and they are downloading in a pagination fashion, right? So they downloaded one page, then two page, and second page, so they can use this method and show how much percent is completed. So that's how they can achieve that. And let's say I will be giving 100 number. It's like 100 as a max size, and then I mean the size of the progress bar, and then we'll run a loop. So what we are doing, we get a percentage using this formula. How we can get a percentage of normal, it's the same formula, divide by 100, or divide by the total, and then whatever is the progress size. Okay, and then for those percentage, we'll put a 1 1. We'll move the cursor from left to right direction, and we'll change the color, and we'll put a space so that it looks like something is happening. Okay, and then what we'll do when the second iteration, because first dot and second dot and then second iteration is coming, we go back again to 0th index, and this time we'll run the loop again, and that's how it will be. It will look like, okay, the progress is really happening or not. And in the end, we can just print how much what is the completed progress. Just the user, we are going to give this number, or a loop is going to actually. So if I want to run this, I can just simply run this method in a loop. So you can see I start from 0, and say my total max number is 100, and then I'll run this, and then just increase this position from, I mean, nothing, like it will show you the progress, like, and then sleep for a 50 millisecond or something like that. Okay, so let me run this one. Since I am starting from 0, so that's why it's starting from 0, and it's showing like whether the progress is completed or not. So I'm increasing the number. Let me stop this, and let's say this time I want to start from, let's say, 50. So if I go back, and you will see, okay, it started from 50. Cool. Okay, now let's say someone wants to give a higher number, because so let's say they are downloading 500 pages, or I mean, like, I'm just trying to give you an example, like if they're having some kind of they want to calculate the progress between this number, their starting number, to the maximum number. So you can, let's say, you can give, since we are dealing with the percentage, so it will work. So you can see, even though we are having 500, it's going to work, because we are printing the bar within 20 character position. So if you count these, it will be 20 actually, and it's working within that. So consider it works in that way. So let it complete, and then it will show whether the progress is completed or not. So that's pretty much about this video. Thank you very much. Let it complete. As you can see, it's going to complete in some milliseconds, and it's done. All right, thank you.